This industry is not a church where tugabana kagati or ateke akagati. No. Life is a jungle. You know. That is what. Now, what was the context of what I was saying? I was saying, learn to make friends. Social capital. Omwana oyo yatuse ku stage nga title DJ na mugamba ninako oluyimba lulumu. Naye bulire bigambo bye yakozesezza okuvuma DJ. Okimanyi nti ba DJ bonna balina association. Bwe baga nti tugenda kuba muyimbi tebamukuba. Mumulabyeko wano firimu nga babayimbi abakuba ba DJ, and you still ask yourselves lwaki abayimbi abo bagwa. Ba DJ bonna bekwata omulundi ogwo ne bagawe tetujja mukuba music we. Groups zaabwe ndi mu groups nga mukaaga. Sometimes I even feel sorry when I read certain things. And the fight ba DJs batadde weyo, example je nabadembawa. That's why now you find that DJs are earning equal money, 80% the money the artists are earning, or even more money than artists now. Kwanga ba artists bali baine jogeri kuba ba DJ. Ba DJ ne bekola mo mulimu. Slick Stewart ayinza okubira Roger namga Roger. Gundi oyo yankubye. Oba Roger ayinza okulira gundi yakubye Slick Stewart naga oyo sijja kuba music we. Akusirikira busirikirizibwa ati bwe batuleyo meeting zaabwe ku group za nga bagamba oyo mwana ate mugira. But then again, let me tell you this. Do you know that the DJs, the same DJs, Roger ayinza okuba ne artist omu nagamba ba DJ yonna ono artist wange please push for me. So it is equal nechimu DJ oyo yennyini okugamba nti oyo artist yanvumye temukuba music we, and they don't. So is that rocket science really? Muli ku social media you're discussing Bebe Cool legend yagambi simanyi yeah. When I said it, I said something that you should have picked content from. Just because you have weak brains does not mean you just misguide people because muogera. Be very careful. Until some of us who have good brains, but tunava mu music tujja kudda wanonga tuogera. We will take your own jobs. Ate mwote musa kufuka bayimbi. Mwaba misleading abantu. Na ife tuso kufuka ba TikToker. Because we already have followings. Mwino kuigo kubera constructive. Ate namwe abantu mulekerawo nnyo okubeera nga temulaba bu clip webuti bwe basazeemu and you just take. Mwino okumanya omuntu wabeeredde ku TikTok live kitegeeza abaddeko hours and hours. We were speaking about just a few topics. I spoke for about 3 to 4 hours. How can you take something that lasts less than a minute, but that is what it meant? So, music industry, si kanisa. It is a very competitive platform with so many people needing to earn a living. Chogamba go muyimbi atuddawa mpuliriza balaba ogenda kubeera olaba omuyimbi oli omulala nga akuyitako gosirike nga tolina kyokolawo omukubira engalo mbu agenze wakabi nnyo ye agenze. That's why temuyitawo. Nalabidde ddala a person on live saying nti kyekyabalemesa abayimbi abato kyekibalemeseza okubitinga ba Bebe Cool, the big three. What? No wonder you're a failure in life. You person who said that. I am not surprised. You're so petty. You're so petty like this. Era sikuvuma naye njagala oddeyo mu ndabirwamu weeyambule ng'oliweka mu kisenge weenonyeko anything valuable between you, your life and your family. Okujjako okuzaala nti wazaala abaana era osabe Katonda nti nno okyuka kati oba redirecting a mindset. Because you're arguing out a person who is a million times successful using his formula, while your formula that you think was right has kept you below. What is wrong with Ugandans for not understanding that a person who lives a better life than you made the better decision than yours? it means he understood more than you did. It means you have to learn from him rather than attack him. In Uganda, this is a country where those who don't have abuse those who have. This is a country where the unsuccessful attack the successful, telling them they are unsuccessful. This is so wrong. Era nze nwananya abavubuka muleme kugenda na mentality zabo ababatisa. No, the formula is one. When you see a person who has made it, mukope genda out. Muve mbana baba buzabuza mbu music industry in a system but they fail people mbuno simanyi Illuminati. Guys, I was in Nairobi with Jose Chameleon. We slept on the floor. Netwebike akagundi twagabana nengoye z'okwambala. Bombo clat when you come and sembo Illuminati nga gwe waliwa ne Uganda nga weba kamufaliso ne blanket nga bakuwa chai nga ffe tutambula kwa Afia Center tukola tunonya bwe joita Illuminati. Well, if that is Illuminati, then forgive me, I am Illuminati. More very strange, but you see, because I love my country so much, I will not cease. I don't. This life today goes against a few things with my management, but unfortunately, life is beyond just career and management. Life is life. Life. You will understand when your career stops to mean anything. That it was important for you to put a tafari on your own people in your own country for the betterness of your own people. If you have information in the head, you should share it at the right time. This is one of the youngest countries where people, these young people need to hear these things. You must not shy away from amazima. Nebegaba galuma, you say it. Uganda is the country a single kubera ne opportunities. That's why Uganda, anything can be done. Fetu supporting zabayimbi okuva mbuli nsi yonna. When has a Ugandan artist ever gone to any country and been supported and become a star? But every single Nigerian artist who has made it worldwide has come here before they are big, and then they get that big audience on the picture. They become big in the UK, they become big in the world. How comes it is not happening the other way around? Because it is the Ugandan who hasn't found the formula. Memucha tusko tuze mabega. Lokuba to the UK mukasenge mbunawe ena analysis jowa ku Uganda ku Bebe Cool. Young man and young woman enensi kumwetandika butandisi kubanga nkusubiza naka katebe ko tudde kwako botaka kozese nga brand nga atunda brand, it's not paying. Otherwise manyi wosula nebyokola nebo hasu nebo suffering ne family yo nga bwe muli. Sirina kyenkwegomba kera subira muvubuka ina kumugamba nti yegombe abavubuka ababiri abasatu abasiba ku TikTok nga bababuza abuzambu their lives are better. No, it's because you always keep misguiding people, because you have misguided mindsets. Mwe mchala be Bungereza na America nge bitalo, oh my God, nonya visa. I respect everyone who went to Europe and America to work. Okolaka sente ka katono okomiewo. But I disrespect everyone whose mindset is out there to make a Ugandan think it is important okuva wano okugende erimba bali eribe bakabi. How many people have been on social media here nga babagamba banange kama yanyambe nasonze yebe nakozeza nenkoma waliwo mwami wane ya Zimba Mall bamita Bakalwa eri Haji Bakalwa eri rudawa Yes. He gives you a good story about what exactly is. See Hajiba Kalubayeka, so many people. In the beginning, those days, it was okay because abazungu bali tebananyweza nnyo nati. Ng'osobola okukola esente zo ne zibeera valuable. N'ozimba wano. Ate ne wana Uganda ebiseera ebyo amataka nga bya sente entono. Ebintu ebyokukozesa okuzimba amayumba nga bya sente entono. You could. But now the world is different. Today bw'otunuulira Abamerika bennyini abazungu bagamba nange. Africa is better than America. Uganda is better than UK, US. It is better. Naye gojja gamba nti ojja kumbuuza ng'oyagala kuleeta mwana eno okusamba mupiira. That is the petty thinking. Of course n'omuzungu bwe yajja wano yajja kubba nange njaga kujjayo nzibeyo kyenzibye enkizze. Naye naawe bw'oba ogendayo kubbayo kyobbye ozze eno. Not because nti yewasinga naye waliwo ekyokubbayo. Just like always the president says, even a fool can survive in Uganda. How do you tell me that's not the best place? Today, President Traore Mulaba Charike Burkina Faso. Alwana na mindset z'abantu kweche chintu. Third most selling gold country. Yakusatu mu production ya gold ANC. Augmenting over Burkina Faso to go to America for greener pastures? Really? My best person today, and I had this argument with most of my friends in the US when I went there. I told them Trump will become the president because now the world is open. The worst weapon that has been created ever in this world is called TikTok. That is the mass destruction weapon that was created, and surprisingly, not even any bright white person or any bright black person could anticipate the dangers of TikTok. TikTok is as Americans went to Iraq pretending to look for weapons of mass destruction, a Chinese man was in America creating the weapon of mass destruction. The weapon of mass destruction is called TikTok. By basic information, you know that information is power. And if you're an American, or if you're a European, or anyone who is in governments in Europe, you should have known that the only reason you took over the world was because information was only kept to you, by you. The second you chose to allow information to flow, now everyone has the information, so that means everyone has the power. So Traore has the power, Museveni has the power, an African in Luero, in Gulu now knows, because we get information from you. We now know the things. It's no longer like those days when you used to come and land and say, I mean, there's two stations in the US. There's CNN and there's BBC. BBC is UK. There's what network is that? So you can see that all the programs that are programmed on those stations are programmed to change with a narrative, with an intended narrative. The Democrats are on this station. The Republicans are on the other one. So everyone has a way they build the mindset of their supporters to believe what they are saying. That's why at the end of the day, Trump, oh my God, all Africans must thank Trump. That's the way to think. That is how to think. I remember when he said that statement and said that it was Putin, President Putin, who said Africans live in a graveyard. He commented something to do with a graveyard. But what he meant was actually very positive for us to think about. The same way Trump is helping us to think. Close the funding so that I can look around myself and look for money within myself. That means you're helping me. How much funding has been stopped in Uganda? How many people have died, surely? Bobi Wine has been shouting every now and then. So many projects successfully have been closed in Uganda. People don't have jobs. Remember, from the fact that there were less jobs, the man kept on walking up and down saying they'll stop funding Uganda, and now more don't have jobs. But then guess what? When Trump stops the funding, we are now more serious on the corruption, looking for the best ways to curb corruption, looking for the best ways to look for money within ourselves so that we can be self-dependent. Kakati bw'osanga abantu abatasobola kulowooza nti ne statement gyenkola in music, or if you find people who can't think that even a single statement I make in music involves something, a narrative within the economy, political and social conversation within my head, I understand when you don't understand. That's why I say, ask, please ask. Don't just say things. Some of us have been blessed to have the reason to have the opportunity to be close to leaders. It wasn't by mistake that I looked for my way closer to the president, or I looked for my way closer to politicians and these rich people and owners of the so-called radios. I needed to understand the perspective of ownership of those properties, the perspective of sitting in those offices, the perspective of power, the perspective of finances, being rich. I needed to understand those things and relate to myself. So when you come to discuss what Bebe has said, please watch. I expect the good thing is abantu abasinga okubeera important. Okay, abantu benali tutemu ensa abakola analysis, they hadn't said anything because I know they watched the whole 3 hours. They did watch the whole 3 hours. So they knew the context in which I said the statement I did. But only these ones who want to impress, we are opposition. Even if you do a good song we don't like, even if something good happens we don't appreciate. We already know your opposition and we don't care. We will only do one thing, make a good life for you so that you can stay alive, live well. After all, half of the opposition people here in Abalim Parliament, they are as rich as no man's business. I only feel sorry, and that's why I support Museveni, because Museveni cares about the poor person in the opposition, because he knows that that person has been misled. Here you are following a guy who definitely, you see him kneeling down in Bazungu, yet the narrative on Africa today is patriotism. Oh my goodness. And you even say, Abadembazungu, and Nemukuba Nengal, really? Ngatemulaba Africa, you nego babazungu. Chokama muli mabega wakali. The likes of Nambos, the pretenders, just because they look for office. So, and this issue is political, because it is serving people two-way. Ebintu bya politics ebyo serving a two-way, and I'm happy that things are happening that way. Nemumalamu abantu abamageze ekitiibwa kati bulaba eri wali olutalo Namboze byayogedde bya kisiru nnyo. It is the most stupid thing. Lwaki temwaze kwebyo nemu correctinga Namboze? Muli ku Bebe Cool olwokubanga mwagala okubika ensobi za Namboze. You started that topic because Namboze had done the most stupid. Bobi Wine and Namboze this week have said the most stupid two statements. How do you attack? How do you come and say nti abaganda abawakyawagira Museveni muli basiru nnyo? Obuwagizi bw'omukulembeze wa Uganda buva ku baganda oba buva ku banna-Uganda? Why is your topic always about baganda? Can't you have common sense and see nti nekyo kikukyaya tribes endala? For us, of course, tukubengalo naye ate kinuma nnyo kati njagala nnyo exposing exactly wakinali ngamba nti no Bobi Wine omutwe gwo munafu nnyo. At least emyaka gy'omaze mu politics today wali badde oyina ky'oyizeeko. Museveni bw'aba akuba akalulu wali badde oyiga akubira wa? You have to learn from the best. Bulijjo nange nenonyamu ekintu ekigambo waayo oba kasajja nkawalana lwa music no naye n'obwongo obukalu nabo butukooya. That's why we are still stuck with the NRM. Gwe notamanya nti obukulembeze is not about baganda. Otukyayisiza abantu bonna oyagala okuleeta tribalism eddemu abantu batandika okubanga batulabanga abaganda tugenda kwesigala nji tukyuke nga basobola okulaba nti tuli baganda ennyindo tuzisale ngoma zo tukyayisa. Can't you just learn that leadership is about every tribe, not one? Then nizileta namba embo fe tusobola okufuna ebululu ne Buganda eziri region endala ne tubagana okulonda. Really? And you are a human being in Uganda here? Ye mwe abatudde mu bantu baffe wano mbu mukulembeza. Ensonga lwaki I've gone to the politics is because it is noob bloggers obwavuddeyo ne butandika okumisguidinga nga bukozesa statement yange okukavaringa mistakes ezakoleddwa mu wiiki zabadde bbiri eza nuupu. Omanyi this is how social media works. Okay? Omuntu bw'akola ensobi abeera asaba Katonda wajjewo topic emubika. Kakati topic eyo bwebula ng'omuntu oyo akuba essimu agamba aba bloggers be nti mulonde ku ekyo mukibuzaabuze bwe kiti mukole bwe muti. If you really meant that Bebe Cool meant ntino ya blocking anga abayimbi, why didn't you play at least a clip of 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the conversation? You have lost it completely, you young people, you old people who are pretending mwe mubulirira bana abantu. If you notice, there's been consistency in my position in a lot of things. Ndi consistent politically and I'm consistent on ebintu byembera mbulira. Nebo zijjayo tewabangayo statement hiyo naje yali ekyuse mu kamwa kange. Kwanja nyensi yange. And I want people to understand. Ne music yono nalibadde na muvaamu mbabulira mazima because I see where also a percentage ziri. Now that I know the music muzibu nnyo ensendala zituleka tewali muyimbi muto agenda kusobola kukompitinga ku level competing bwako kati ekigenda okubeera wensi yaffe bajja gifulanga yo ya welcoming all the stars who become big, all the African big stars are becoming a big munsi nga ffe betulinda ne tuteeka na lugogo ne jula yonna yonna nga ffe tetulinayo waffe asobola kugenda kubanga kati music ali so expensive. Kati bana abaana abata baliwo banakola batya albums zino n'ennyimba ezo tebasobola balina kola kamukamu. Kati bw'oyagala Bebe Cool ate ku ssaawa eno nga yasobola okuteekamu ku kasente ate naye aveeyo then kati industry n'atuuka ddi okolayo album. Mweke nyini abana Uganda mwe mubeeraawo Wizkid ana album Davido yatadde album abana Uganda mulikuki ne mujerega epasi yakola album ke mudiro lye bichi and you tewali na luyimba luzanya. That is you. Kakati ate Bebe afunye ku sente asobola ku accessinga funds esokola album ate bwagikola ate nti oyo baganya bana ate okuvayo bali badde yelwaki bali badde bava music nga bali legends nga simanyi Bebe ina record label. Who told you to make a record label? You just need to be old. You the young one, why can't you make one instead? It is very, very, very important for you mwino okufumitiriza, mwino okuyiga okufumitiriza. Bwe mutafumitirizenga temujja kutegeeranga kiki lwaki abantu bakola ebintu bye bakola ki bye bakola. Ate nabagambako dda nti obwongo bw'omwana omuto tebusobola ku digestinga bintu kwenkana bwongo bwa muntu mukulu. Omuntu omukulu bwayogera byayogera tebabisuula muguluka. Kivula nabakubira kamwako. Kati waliwo ne gwe nalabye yakuteyo statement n'ateeka kakayimba kabakamwako kikola positive two way. Akamwako kaso kubanga kogera ebintu naye nga abantu tebabitegeera. So mwabadde bagezaako kuddira topiki ya Bebe Cool mugifuule nti ebika mistakes za Namboze neza Kadingo. Sebo temujja kubika wao. Ate okumanya temujja kubikawo. Ekirungi nalabye ne kana akavubuka ke South Africa kakisekanga era today actually wembadde ndaba nenga actually ndoza mulimuko ku bantu abagezaako okutegeera common sense nga bayina bamanyi okufumitiriza. Kakiseka nkalabye kabyogera. That's where you should point. Actually nebajjo lero mulabye. Omanye yo muvuka tategeera naye ate naye leero alina amagezi. Eyo gye mulina okuti muli mu nsobi. Temuddira byaffe ebintu ebiguiding abaana. Why in this world would amaanyi genina sisobola gatuuzaako muntu. Sisobola. Ekyo mu kufa kwange Allah ankole kyayagala. Sisobola. Because already nebe nwana nabo banafu. Yenze nchina gwe nwana naye musically. No one. I'm doing musical wange like nothing. My job is to only support the Ugandan artists to see how far can we go. But the support is not putting ice cream in your mouth. You young people. The support won't come by smearing kungulu mbukusiga kungulu. No. You need to understand it is even going to be tougher. Nalabe waliwo yakoze list y'abayimbi mbu abalemwa ndoza kati mutegedde lwaki mwalemwa mbu the big three mbu system. Illusion in your mind. Obunafu. When we prayed tubagamba nange kati ngenda bagamba ekintu maze emyaka mingi nga mbagamba kunjaga. Ambagaba n'enjaga eyo gye mulaba nze nagitegeera enjaga kyekola. Enjaga eyo ena element gye making omuntu okubeera comfortable. N'olabira ddala ng'ogenza oli wakabi. Kati omuntu wakabi ayinza okukola oleda aba amanyi wakabi. Get me that from. Omuntu bw'obanga oli mu mode yegamba nti Rastafari. Oba olaba oline Katonda ng'otuuse oba tusobola kukola mulo oba tusobola kukola. Era bwekuggwako ekibeerawo kibeera nti oba oyagala kuddayo eri ewa Katonda wabadde atudde ng'ozzaako. I don't want to put names on this, but I have seen so many great artists in Uganda destroy their careers and their lives because of weed. Instead of listening to these things that I keep dropping one by one, hey guys, make friends. How many today, if I may ask you young people, why do you think when Jeff promotes an artist, if that artist leaves Jeff, it's very difficult for them to make it? Why do you think so? It's because you refuse to understand what is Jeff's strength. Jeff's strength is friends with DJs, friends with owners of radio stations. That is his strength. So when he gets an artist, he just keeps taking them back in his social capital. When he goes back to his social capital, when he has a new artist, he'll tell his friends that stop playing the old artist. I'm no longer working with him or her. Play this new artist. That's why when you leave Swang's Avenue has a budget that only pays for artists in there. They don't pay for artists who have left Swang's Avenue because those artists would be competing with the new artists. So the budget will go on the new artist. So Swang's Avenue as a management or a record company will go and say, please remove all the previous songs from the playlist. Now load these new songs. It is as easy as that. That's what I meant. So as an individual artist, I can do the same. That I was supporting so and so, but now I don't. Please, instead of that, in the money I gave, please play so and so. So I want you artists to take this as business, not as fun, not as a favor, not as, we are not in church, guys, because you're wasting a lot of time. It should not be time wasted. It should be time invested. It's a business. The music industry is a business. How is business done? Ask yourselves. That's why these guys that we're trying to compete with, of course, recently when I did my interview with Desope in the UK, I was so hurt by just the things he told me. And he was right. The Ugandan artists started to go to the UK, to London, as much as the Nigerian artists were going there. Actually, I can guarantee you that there is no Nigerian who had a club. The clubs were owned by Ugandans. One of ours was Charlie Lubega, who owned, it was called Paya. Yeah, Paya One, and another, what club in London. And even the Nigerians who were having their nights in there. But there is no single Ugandan artist webalinga batutwala agenda ku Friday ku Lwokubiri na kola media tour mu UK. No, bwe batutwalanga ku Lwokubiri n'otuuka ku Lwokubiri olw'eggulo ne bakutwala mu ddiiro ly'omuntu ne bakwalira ne weebakaawo ne bakukima ne bakutwala okulya emmere olw'eggulo muka restaurant k'abana Uganda. Jukira ogenze kuyimbira abana Uganda naye ne bakutwala mu restaurant y'abana Uganda ate ne bakomyawo ne bakuteeka mu ddiiro ne weebakaawo. N'otuuka Wednesday, Thursday, Friday no performing ku Saturday shame. Ate olumala okuperforminga nga tiketi yo olinnya ku Sunday n'okomawo Uganda. Nga basically what has happened is ovudde Uganda mbana Uganda n'ogenda London n'otukira mu nyumba y'omuna Uganda ne weebaka blanket y'omuna Uganda n'ogyebika n'ozukuka n'olinya ku stage n'oyimbira omuna Uganda n'osituka enkeera n'okomawo Uganda. How do you become international? Omusajja yambuza n'angamba, Bebe, this is what the Nigerians did at that time. When they had a show here in the UK, they came in a month prior. And then they went to every possible radio station that they could be given an interview, and all possible clubs. nga bakubamu 1 minute nayogera ngenda kwera ne show yange wano nakubayo ne even MCs and DJs could nga babagamba, you know, we have so and so, he'll be performing on this date on this venue. Bone ba building kati agenda kuita mu mabala nga 100 before his main show. Ngogendo kulanga buli bala je abantu 15 20 so when they start to open venues zabwe ne zibanga abantu bajjanga bangi nezigenda ngazigaziwa kati atenga ne ku radios their names are getting to be known. So that's how the Nigerians became big in the UK while Ugandans stayed within Ugandans, and even the Ugandans that we had in the UK started pounding us back to Uganda. And yakuwa business class obato yagala lekayo nga kwegamba batandika twist zatalanga ebiyenje waliwo benalaba baba collecting ango enkota. We should have gone to the UK. If you have a show there, go 1 month prior. Promote your music in different clubs, in different Nigerian restaurants and bars. Move here and there. Do a few clips here and there. Spend some time there. Nigerians spend 2 to 3 months when they are there. I did not manage to do that because I should have done it. At that time, I didn't have a family. Right now, I can't stay away from my family for 3 months. Maybe I can 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And that means possibly nyinzo kwanga mbadi n'okutambula n'omukyala. But gwachali omu atanaba kuzimba family. Those are the things you should be doing. For 4 years bw'okikolera emyaka ena, there is no way abayimbi beeyo abali ku ground bwe bataakumanye. There is no way 1 or 2 or 3 radio stations that are big won't pick you up. There is no way those DJs won't pick you up. So wetubanga tubadde tuina conversation nga totegeera bintu bino, please temwefula nti ate mbadde mbasiriikiriddemu mmwe. Badde mbasiriikiriddemu naye ndaka ngenda kuulayo enjala. Era naddala those who want to criticize musically, please wait on the 30th and pick on that album and critically listen to it. Kati mujiwulirize kifuba so that mutegera omusajja ono ddala byayogera Yesu dia oba mujiwulirize. Ate bw'oba totegedde era nja kutambula, I will do a media tour even if it means 1 year and a half. But I promise you within 1 year and a half or 2 years you'll understand why Bebe did what he did. Nze mujukire nze sagala bya bampane. I am not a seeker of public sympathy. Forget it. I am a fact seeker. And I feed on facts, however painful they are. I'm a strong African. I slept on the streets in Nairobi. I had a home in Uganda. And you're here telling me that Illuminati, but there is a system in Uganda, but big three, but take our system. Nga paka sawa zino nchatoba. Paka sawa zino nchatoba. Sagala kwasa byama. Nina bingi nnyo bye mmanyi nze myaka gino gyonna gye tubaddewo. So I spoke about, there was a question that was given by one of the bloggers asking me about the fights. And I told her, or I said, the fights, as long as they are verbal, not physical, it's okay. But remember, this topic came from the fact of the corporate companies. If you are going to get support or sponsorship from corporate companies, you must understand the dynamics of the corporate companies. That's why I'm saying you must take the music industry as a business.